What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. My name is Dave Reed, and today we're going to be doing a simple shaman tanking guide for you. And if you're new to my videos, new to my channel, I make simple guides for SOD. And the point is to be very simple and concise and give you I would say the goal is to make this very casual and alcoholic friendly. Give you all of the, basic foundation of things. I don't want to flood you with a bunch of numbers and information that you don't need. So hopefully by the end of this video, you have a basic understanding of how to play this spec. We will be going over our runes, talents, as well as stats and our main abilities in our rotation. So I guess just jumping right into it, we will go to our runes. Now, something about shamans that I've noticed is that you really have two branches that you can go down into. You can either go with dual wield, or you can go with shield, one-hander and shield. So I personally prefer to go one-hander and shield, mainly because of the survivability base, the survivability of it. So I personally think shield and dual wield are basically equal. I do know that dual wield does better threat and more damage, whereas shield mastery is going to be more of a survivability based spec, I guess you could say. So in terms of shield mastery, or in terms of going one-handed and shield, I go with these runes. So chest, I go with shield mastery. What it does is that every time you block, you will gain a stack, which is basically a stack of armor. It increases your armor, and the stack builds up to 5 stacks max. Obviously survivability based, having that extra stacking armor on your shaman is very, very nice. Then I go my waist, I do maelstrom weapon. So again, another stacking system where every time you do melee damage, you will have a chance to create a stack of maelstrom. What it does is it reduces the cast time and mana cost of specific abilities. Some of those abilities being lightning bolt, chain lightning, chain heal, lava burst. And when you get to a stack of 5, it's an instant cast. So you can instant cast chain lightning. You can instant cast like a healing wave. It's a big thing that I really like it. I recently just got it and started playing around with it, and I think it's the best rune to go with. Legs, obviously Way of the Earth. This is basically your tanking rune. It's, again, similar to Warlocks with Metamorphosis. Way of the Earth is like that tanking rune that you need. There is no switching this one out. Feat is a little bit more binary. So your feat is going to be based on your situation in the raid. So Spirit of the Alpha, what this does is when you put this on yourself, so I can put this on myself, and it'll give you increased stat generation by 45%. If you're the only shaman in the group, you want to have this on, and you will apply this to yourself. The best scenario is that you have a shaman DPS, and they can put this on you, and like for me, I put this on myself. It's just one person benefiting. The DPS can apply this to me, and then I'll still get the threat, but they will get a buff called Loyal Beta, which will give them increased attack power. So in the case that you have another shaman in the group that also has alpha, you can switch to Decoy Totem, and this basically redirects the next. It's like a defensive totem, so it can redirect melee or ranged attacks made against the target to the totem instead. The totem also grants the target immunity to movement and parrying effects for 10 seconds. So either of these two will work, and it's a very situational thing. Again, if you're the only shaman in the group, so if you're doing like dungeons, for example, and you're the only shaman, then you want to go with alpha. But if someone else has alpha, then switch over to Decoy Totem. And then finally, we have Molten Blast. So Molten Blast is that it's the same thing as phase 1. It is that frontal cone ability, does quite a bit of damage, does quite a bit of threat. It's a very, very cool ability, but you get that little frontal cone that will, again, does a lot of threat and quite a bit of damage. Now, some of these things can be switched around again. So the two major ones that I would recommend switching, I don't have them right now on this character, but for example, your gloves, let's see, your gloves. Molten Blast, I personally think that's the best one to go with. However, if you are having issues with mana, maybe go with Water Shield. I don't think it's that great because if you take damage, right, you'll lose that Water Shield. So you have to keep applying it. So I think Molten Blast is the best one, but again, if you need helping with that mana. Although there's another rune you can get called Power Surge for your waist, that it's also another like mana helping rune. So I personally think that you probably shouldn't go double mana runes. I think if you do need help with mana, go with Power Surge. I think replacing that Maelstrom with a Power Surge is probably the better option, because that Molten Blast is pretty important. And again, that Water Shield falls off. And then if you do decide to go dual wield, you would probably want to replace this Molten Blast with, you would probably want to replace it with, let me go here, with your Lava Lash ability. Whether you're going dual wield or shield, this Water Shield, you could use it if you need help with mana, but overall, Molten Blast is the best way to go. So this is like the baseline default that I would go with. Again, you can play around with it and see what works best for you. If you're having, like I said, if you're having issues with mana, maybe try some of the other runes. But I think this is a good baseline to go with when it comes to your runes. So that's it for the runes. We will jump into our talents. So when it comes to talents, I put nothing into restoration. I put nothing into elemental. Everything's into enhancement. If you're just looking to plug points in and don't need any type of description to it, I'll let you guys just see kind of what I got here. So if you don't want to hear me talk about it, you want to plug these numbers in, go ahead. You can skip to the next part, but I will kind of go over these really quickly. So 5 points into shield specialization, which will increase your chance to block attacks with the shield by 5% and increase the amount blocked by 25%. Thundering Strikes improves your chance to get a critical strike with your weapon attack by 5%. Enhancing Totem, I put 1 point into that, increases the effect of your Strength of Earth and Grace of Air totems by 8%. You put 5 points into Anticipation. This will increase your chance to dodge by an additional 5%. Then going to 5 points into Flurry, which will increase your attack speed by 30% for the next 3 swings after dealing a critical strike. 3 points into Elemental Weapons. This will increase the melee attack power bonus of your Rockbiter weapon by 20%, your Wind-Free weapon effect by 40%, and increase the damage caused by your Flame Tongue weapon and Frostbrand weapon by 15%. Putting 1 point into Parry, this gives you a chance to parry enemy melee attacks. Then we put 5 points into Weapon Mastery. This increases the damage you deal with all weapons by 10%. And then the last one is Storm Strike, which is a new ability. You gain another ability. And it says gives you extra attack. In addition, nature damage dealt to the target is increased by 20% for 12 seconds. So again, that is the talents I go with, all 31 points into enhancement. Then going into our stats. So I'm just gonna have some B-roll, whatever you want to call it, playing for you guys while I kind of go over some of the stats here. So very, very quick part of the video when it comes to stats. So your basic stats you want to worry about: number 1, your hit chance, getting that to at least 6%, so you can attack people or attack enemies that are 2 levels above you. Followed by strength, then stamina, agility, then crit, then intellect, and everything else would fall under that. So like defense, parry, dodge, armor, like those things would all fall last. But your main, like I'll say your main 6 or main 7 would be hit chance, strength, stamina, agility, crit, intellect, and then like armor. That would be what you would use. And I'll put that on the screen for you guys, so it's a little bit easier to read, or so you don't have to just listen to me, but will be something for you to see. The stat priority thing, I say that in these videos, but at the end of the day, your best in slot gear is going to be like 90% out of Gnomeregan. Obviously some things from like Stranglethorn from the event, but I just throw those numbers in there. Those are more for people who are like leveling maybe, or maybe you're trying to do leveling dungeons or doing quests or whatever it is. But obviously like your best in slot's going to be like Gnomeregan, so makes it pretty easy when it comes to your gear and your stats. And then finally we're going to be going over our main abilities in a rotation, and I'm not going to give you like a hit this button here, here, here. I kind of want to give you an idea of when to use certain abilities. And it'll be basically like a rotation, but it's going to be a little bit more freedom with it. So that's at least the goal. So the first thing you want to do before going into an encounter, especially like a boss encounter, is you want to apply your lightning shield. If you are ruined into water shield, you want to apply that before going into a fight. Again, the way I have it, you don't do water shield, you go into lightning shield. If you have the stacks, it's best to open up with your chain lightning. Then I would probably would do like a flame shock or molten blast, one of those two. And again, keeping up that flame shock, making sure that dot's on, and then using your storm strike, molten blast, earth shock. Those are gonna be your fillers. And then I would say if you're pulling trash packs, I would use magma totem for that AoE damage of fire. But if you're doing like a single target boss, I would probably use searing totem for that single target damage. But the abilities that you see in this clip over here, those are going to be your main abilities. I mean, those are going to be the abilities you're going to be using the most. And it's a fairly simple like rotation or abilities to use. But again, yeah, just opening up with that chain lightning if you can. Otherwise, opening up, I would probably, if you're gonna pull trash or something like that, I would probably maybe open up with the molten blast. But again, on your main target, making sure that dot is up, and using your storm strike, molten blast, and earth shock. Excuse me, whenever you can. And that's basically your very simple and basic explanation of how Shaman tanks are played. But I think overall, that's all I have for you guys today. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope this helped you out a lot. Please make sure to leave a comment or ask questions down below if you have any. I will try to help you, or people in the comments will, help you out. We got a pretty good community here. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I try to answer them whenever I can. Yeah, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.